Let's get it. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the SchuZ Show. I hope you guys had a phenomenal weekend. On today's show, we've got a lot of stuff to get into. Obviously, we have fight recaps from what down this past weekend. We'll get into some boxing news. But before we get into all that, I'm excited to be able to welcome on a very special guest. He's a man who holds now a 10-1-1 record with 3 KOs, and he is now the English super welterweight champion. That's none other than Bilal Fawaz. Bilal, appreciate taking time to come on today, man.
Pleasure is all mine. Pleasure is all mine.
Absolutely. So I know we were just talking backstage. I already asked you this, but for the public to hear this, man, you're the English super welterweight champion. How's it feel?
Feels overwhelming. We are the baddest man in the whole of England right now, in my way. So it's a long time coming. And to know that I am number one in the whole country, I tell you, not many people feel like this.
You know, we're going to dive into some of your story very shortly. But if I would have told the young Bilal this, that you will be the English super welterweight champion of the world one day, how that young Bilal would have reacted?
I would believe it. Yeah. This is nothing. This is just a step out of 100 steps that I'm about to take. So if you say you're going to be a world champion, still wouldn't baffle me. I dream big. If you don't dream big, why are you dreaming?
Right. You know what's crazy about that is you have, like I said, a remarkable story. And on top of that, you just said you're not done yet. You're still dreaming big. So I have to follow with that question then. Where do you go from here? What do you want to accomplish? You are English super welterweight champion. What else do you want to do? What are those big goals that you have that you're dreaming for?
Well, in anything you're doing, if you're working in a work or you have a company, once you start as a receptionist, what's the next stage? You want to become a secretary. You're that.
Right.
What is the next stage? You want to be a manager. That. What's the next stage? You want to be a CFO. So the next stage is the bigger title from this. The British.
When you talk about that aspect, is there a possibility that we see you get that fight very shortly? Because obviously, you know, you are coming off a big win. Your name is very large right now. People know who you are. People love watching you. People respect you. Is there a legitimate chance that we see you fight for the British Championship anytime in the near future?
It's not that is there a legitimate chance. It's definitely going to happen.
Okay.
It's going to happen because when you're the English champ, you're mandatory for the British champ.
Right.
And then after that, you're mandatory for the European. Then after that, you're mandatory for the world. It's a process.
Right. When can we possibly see that fight happen? Is this something we're going to look towards in early 2026, mid 2026? When can we possibly see you fight for the British?
Well, I can't tell you precisely when, but I'm looking to get out real quick. So maybe the first quarter of 26.
Okay. I love that. All right, so I do want to dive into your most recent fight. And obviously, the very first part I have to ask about is I know we just talked about your reaction to winning it. Your moment went viral. When you were announced, obviously, it was a little bit of a delayed response. It seemed like you didn't necessarily know whether or not you won that fight. So I have to ask you, you hear the scorecards. For those that are not aware what they were, 96-94, 96-95, 95-95, and we obviously know you become the champion. What's going through your mind as those scorecards are being read out loud? Your hand gets raised. Then we see the reaction. Just take us through everything that happened at those moments.
What happened was I heard 96-94 in my favor, and then I had 95-95 a draw. So I knew that definitely it's a draw again because last time I won 7-3.
Right.
And they gave it a draw. So I know that if they can do that, then they will do it again. And we came from London all the way to Sheffield, his hometown. So you can understand my disenchantment, my disbelief. And I didn't really hear my name well. So when they brought the belt to me, I lost all composure.
Did it settle in at that moment that you were the English champion, or did it take a little bit of time, maybe a couple of days, until you really realized, wow, I actually accomplished this. I actually did it?
Couple of days.
Okay. And what was that moment like when it did sink in for yourself? Just take us through what went through your mind at that point in time.
Proud.
Mm.
proud. I'm looking back at myself and be happy for what I've become. To
Mm-hmm.
be I felt important.
Right.
I felt I am somebody, and
Mm-hmm.
to feel that way, it's a very, very empowering feeling.
Mm-hmm.
Like coming a first, it's like becoming first in a race.
Right. I want to ask this aspect because obviously this was the rematch of the original fight that happened earlier this year. When you add in those aspects of saying, okay, this is a rematch, in a sense, it's that revenge, if you want to so call it that, but it's that extra motivation. I want to ask you on behalf as a fighter there, when you do go into a situation where the fight is now a rematch, you've already shared the ring with this man before. You have the draw that you obviously probably were not too fond of. Does that add any extra excitement or added boost to the fight when you add in that aspect?
It depends on the fighter, how the
Okay.
fighter is wired. If the fighter is technical and he knows he's confident, he will be excited about it. If a fighter is nervous and he knows that it's a chance for him to maybe he might lose, and then that doubt will eat him up.
Mm-hmm.
So it depends on the fighter.
Okay. For this one for yourself, would you say this was a situation where it added extra motivation to yourself, knowing that this was your rematch and it kind of added the excitement for yourself?
I knew I was gonna dismantle him, like
Mm-hmm.
taking apart a Legoland. I
Mm.
knew I was gonna do that. So it wasn't really excitement. It was just get it over with
Okay.
and on to the next one.
Absolutely. Well, I want people to get to know your story because I'll be honest, when I obviously got to know you and I obviously watched the fight, I thought it was phenomenal. I wanted to get you on the show regardless. But then I learned more
Yeah.
about your story. And I love telling great stories. You have, just off of what I've been able to gather, and obviously I'm excited to hear more what you have to say. You have one of the greatest stories I've ever heard. You've
Thank you.
overcame so many, and I mean so many obstacles, ups and downs, and you are here now today, English super welterweight champion. So, as I want to say to you, and I kind of asked you a little bit ago, but we go back in time when you were young, growing up in Nigeria. If you could have imagined where you are today, how would that young Bilal would have reacted to everything that your life has gone through to get to this point now, what you have accomplished?
I would tell myself to get ready. It's going to be a treacherous road. It's going to be a
Mm,
hard road. You would feel like you're going to give up. But that point is where you need to push further. You will feel like everything is against you. But that's when you know that you are, and no one's going to help you. You are alone. And you need to walk this path on your own. You,
okay.
I will tell myself that I should be prepared for people telling me that I cannot do it. I should be
Mm,
prepared that people will say I'm too old and that I should disregard them because they're speaking from their own belief, from what they can do and what they cannot do, and they're projecting their anxiety on me. So
mm,
I would tell myself, follow your instinct.
mm. There's a lot of people out there that's going to be hated in some way, shape, or form. I'm not sure if that many people will experience everything you've gone through, but people will experience the doubting aspect. What is your advice to them, to a young Bilal out there potentially somewhere in the world today, or anybody facing people that are doubting them? What's your advice? Why should they keep pushing through and stay confident in their abilities that God gave them?
Because those people's opinion don't matter.
Mm,
Not only just in boxing, in life. When you want to do something, you will have your friends laugh at you. You know, you should use that as motivation. And
mm-hmm,
I promise you, there will always be people that will always tell you you cannot do it, you should not do it, you're embarrassing yourself.
right.
That is already telling you that that person doesn't really care about you.
Yes.
Instead of telling them that they cannot do it, how about they should tell them a way that they can do it?
Yes. How has what you've learned now changed yourself? Because you are in a position where you obviously are now an adult. You're a man that can obviously influence kids. People do look up to you. As you've now experienced all the ups and downs of your life, how has that changed you to in a way you just talked about? Now, instead of saying no, you can't do it, of uplifting somebody. How has what your past, what you've gone through, helped make you into the man that you are now today?
It has morphed me and changed me into the person I have become because if you go through a jungle, you will come out with scars.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been through so much that nothing that life throws at me now can phase me. I've seen it all before.
Yep.
And if I was a kid and nothing discouraged me, then why will it discourage me now?
Mm-hmm. Let's go to those moments as a child. You're born in Nigeria, as I already brought up, and it was a difficult childhood for yourself. So I want to ask you about that. A lot of children should not go through what you had to go through. When you're in those moments as a child, how did you persevere? How did you overcome just that very beginning portion of, if I'm not correct, if I'm mistaken here, your mom abusing you, going through living in Nigeria, all those different aspects? How did you get through that?
Ah, how did I get through it? I didn't even think about it.
Hmm.
I didn't think about it. The more you think about something, the more you give it life. So
Yep.
I got to the point where I knew life is brutal. So I expected it.
Mm.
I never had a mom or dad. There was no three-course meal. There was no family in the evening, everybody laughing, watching TV. So already I was in the trenches.
Right.
Call it the ghetto. So already I was in the ghetto, in the trenches. So I was built differently. I was cut from a different cloth. I had
Mm-hmm.
I had stones for breakfast.
Mm.
I had nails as toys. I had no shoes when I was growing up. Here we are.
Mm.
That toughened me up.
You know, most people in the world won't experience what you've gone through. But as you
I wish
said,
they don't.
I 100% agree with that. Now, I think a lot of people look at that and you realize somehow you found a way to find the blessing in disguise, if you will. You found a way to say, you know what I've gone through is made me into a better person. You found a way to find the positive. Not all people do that. Some people will say, okay, I've had all these issues happen to myself. I'm just going to give up. I'm not going to go pursue my dreams. I'm just going to fall into the rest of the crowd, whatever it might be. That's the story of a lot of people. That's
I
not what
don't
your
I don't
story.
I don't I don't I don't even think about those kind of people. They're weak. I don't
Mm,
even I don't even associate myself with those kind of people. I don't think like that because if I start thinking like that, if I start thinking for them like that, then I'll start thinking like that. I don't think like that.
yes.
And I don't even want to even encourage anyone to think like that. There should be
Mm-hmm.
no I cannot do it in your vocabulary. You replace that with I will try my hardest.
Yes.
There should be no this is too hard. You replace that with this is interesting.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you cannot think of negative stuff because then you will start thinking of negative stuff. If you hang yourself around with idiots, you will start thinking like an idiot.
Yep.
So when I tell people, dude, why are you doing that? You can do this. Stop playing around. Stop making excuses. And those people have 100 excuses to come out with. You know what I do?
Mm.
I
Hmm.
just said, you're right. You're right. You follow your instinct because
Mhm.
you can lead a horse to the water, but you cannot force it to drink.
Yes. Yep. Has that mindset always been a part of you, or did that take
Yes.
time to develop?
No, it's been there since I was a kid.
Okay, I love that. All right, so the next portion I want to ask you about, Bilal, is this. Your father is eventually takes you away, or your uncle takes you away now, and you end up coming to the UK. I believe this is at the age of 14 years old.
Yeah.
Walk us through this entire situation, because I know, obviously, and correct me if I'm wrong here, but I believe you were taken to go reunite with your father. That's not
That's
obviously what
right.
ends up occurring right there. So, what all happened? Just tell us the story of from the time you go from Nigeria, all of a sudden you're in the UK now, you're expecting to see your father, it doesn't happen. Walk us through everything that goes down right there.
I ran out of the house. They kept me in the house and they said, stay in this house. Your father will come. For 3 months, I couldn't do anything. And I
Mm,
didn't go to school. I saw people going to school and I wanted to go to school. So I ran out of the house and I ran onto the street. And I was crying. Man took me to the social services and said, young man, I'll help you. And then ever since I was 14, I was a child of the government. And then I
mm.
became an asylum seeker. And then I could not work until I was 20, no, 33, which was when I started boxing.
Right. In terms of the boxing aspect, I want to hop back into your story momentarily, but in terms of boxing, Could you ever imagine when you're younger that you would become a pro boxer, or when did this love for boxing even begin?
I just walked into a gym and I was good at it. I'm good at anything I do
Okay.
because remember, I believe that I can.
Mm-hmm.
The moment I see something, I already believe that I will be great at it.
Mm.
Before I try something, I already know that I'm going to do well at it, even if I don't. But I will, because believing that you can do something would allow you to do it much more than if you never believed in the first place.
Yeah, I agree. I love that
Good.
quote.
Thank you.
What were your dreams then when you were 14? Did you ever have a
I
dream
wanted
of
to be an
becoming
actor.
an actor? Okay. And so what changed? Why did you decide to go into boxing as opposed to acting?
I had no one to tell me that go and study drama. I had
Okay.
no one tell me you love money, go into accounting. I had nobody tell me you want to be great instead of doing boxing, play football because you will always succeed in anything you do.
Mm,
I just never had anyone to tell me what to do as a
okay.
kid. And I made tremendous mistakes that cost a lifetime.
Hmm. Just hypothetically a question and wondering this. You've already accomplished many great things in boxing. Obviously, there's going to be a day you'll put down the gloves.
Yeah,
Is acting
acting.
something you will ever get into?
Yeah, acting,
Okay.
uh, commenting on sports and boxing and everything. I'm good
All
with
right.
words. I know how
Mm.
to dissect and understand things. So, yes,
When can we see you possibly start making your debut? Is that going to be post boxing, or can we even see you start trickling into that a little
before
bit
boxing.
as a boxer? Oh, really? Okay.
No one said you can only do one thing at a time. You can do everything
Agree.
at a time.
I love
You
that.
wanna live happily? You wanna live long? Don't just do one thing. Excite your mind. Let your mind be wild. Let it be interested in so many things. Like learning a new language, learn how to play chess, learn
Mm-hmm.
a new whatever. Don't do just one thing alone. It's bad for the mind. You
Mm,
become comfortable, and comfortable means weak, and weak means you will give up easily, and weak and giving up easily means you will die very quickly.
mm. I want to ask you this. What are your 5 biggest goals for the rest of your life? Those crazy things you want. What are the 5 biggest goals that Bilal currently has that you want to accomplish in the remainder of your life?
Money, a
Okay.
family, buy a penthouse, give money to the less deprived people in the
Mm-hmm.
less deprived area. You know they need it more, and inspire. Want to
Mm,
talk to people. If I have 10,000 people in front of me and they give me a mic and they give me half an hour with them, they will leave there chasing their dreams.
mm. Yeah,
I
I
just need
believe
to
it.
talk to them.
If you could give one sentence as a sentence of motivation to somebody to inspire somebody, what is that sentence going to be?
The sentence is to to be to be in pain and to not give up. That is the birth of discipline and willpower.
Mm,
To be suffering and still say, I'm not going to stop, I'm not going to give up. That is exactly the mindset you want to adopt. And the
I
moment
love
you start thinking like that, everything starts changing.
it. All right, so I want to go back into your story right now. You get to the UK, 14 years old, entirely new country, already dealing with the disappointment of obviously not being reunited with your father, and you're in this new country. How did you adapt? What was it? What was the adaptation process like for yourself, going from one country to an entirely new one all by yourself?
Exciting. I
Mm,
always say the positive, anything. Exciting. Big lights, beautiful things, beautiful building. If I wanted chocolate in the shop. Beautiful thing, excitement. That's how I
mm,
adapt. You shouldn't always see things as, oh, you're here. Oh, oh, how did you get in? It must be difficult. I don't like that thinking.
mm,
it's very, very, very shallow.
I agree. Was there ever any, because I know, like you said, you come into America or to come into the United Kingdom and you expected to see your father at that point in time. Was that difficult at that moment when you realized, okay, he's not here? I'm not probably going to see him again. Was that difficult at that moment for yourself?
That was very revealing.
Mm-hmm.
I grew up real quick. I became a man because I realized that if I haven't seen my father in so long and he's not coming here after 3 months, I will never see him again.
Right. And the other aspect that's insane about what your story is this. You know, so many people talk about the impact parents have. Obviously, parents can be very, very crucial for any child. You obviously didn't have that then anymore. How did you still become who you are today without having a father, without having a mother, obviously losing both of them? How did you do that?
I grew up quicker than any other kid because
Mm-hmm.
I had to fend for myself. So, in some kind of twisted way, it was a gift because I did not grow up to be like my father. My father could have been a weak man.
Right.
I grew up real quick. I started learned how to cook. I started thinking about acquiring money and what do I do with my future at a very young age when most kids were playing PlayStation.
Mm-hmm. At that point in time, you already talked about it, but you were placed with a family who allegedly abused you, trafficked, all these different aspects of domestic servitude there. You run away, all this stuff already discussed that you talked about, and then you get to the age of 15 years old. I want to ask about this situation now because, as you already kind of alluded to, you know, you start getting yourself with the wrong crowd a little bit, and you go through a lot of more difficult things that you had to go through. That includes you obviously got arrested, you were stabbed 25 times, if I'm not mistaken, shot with a gun
Yes.
in the legs. This is once again more situations and stories that most people will never experience in their entire lifetime. What was that
Most.
phase of your life like?
Like I said, I grew up real quick. I
Right.
wanted money, so I could not work. The Home Office said you're not allowed to work. I waited 5 years, nothing happened, and I needed to feed myself. Money I was given every week was insufficient. I needed to buy the bus pass, and I kept on getting on the bus, and then they kept on arresting me because I did not pay for the bus fare. So I said, you know what? I'm going to find a way to make money.
Okay.
So I started doing things that gave me more money very quickly, and I made some dodgy friends,
Mm,
and they got jealous. I was I was succeeding, and they didn't like that. So they tried to end my life.
mm. When I brought up the 25 stabs, getting shot in the leg, was that all in one situation or was this
No,
broken up
different
into
situation.
multiple? Okay.
Some
And so,
situation 8 stabs, some situation 9, and then the gun was a different.
well, I have to ask you this then. Over and over again, you keep getting back up. A lot of people don't make it through being stabbed that many times. A lot of people don't make it through situations. You kept getting back up from physical pain once again. I know this is the moral of the story, but still, this happens now. Now you have this more physical pain inflicted upon yourself. When you talk about getting back up, what brought you to the realization of saying, you know what, I'm going to keep going back to this, even with all the physical pain going on now?
Money,
Okay.
money, and because I already overcome emotional pain, physical pain was my best friend. I knew it.
Mm,
We were acquainted before.
okay.
Yeah.
if you if you were to go back in that moment in time and advise the 15-year-old Bilal, obviously you said you still need the money, but how would you have done it differently? Could you have done it differently if you were to go back now knowing what you know?
I would have still do everything the same, but then I would have told myself, once you get those money and the money that you have, buy some Apple stock, so some Tesla or some Amazon or anything. I
Right.
never knew about investing until 5 years, 4 years ago. If I knew about investing when I was 17, I would be a millionaire right
Right.
now. Okay,
You know that.
this is I don't have much time. Okay, because
Okay, sounds
yeah,
sounds good. I'll wrap up a couple different things and we'll let go. Do you have like five more minutes?
yeah, let's go.
All right, perfect. Let's do it. All right, so then I want to go into the next aspect for yourself, and that is your boxing career. Obviously, you're at a certain standpoint now where you get into boxing. This is post 18, you end up getting your citizenship. All the different aspects happen now. But I want to ask you this aspect. What originally got you into boxing? What got you into the sport?
Like I told you, I just walked into the gym.
Mm-hmm. Was there a
Nothing got
reason,
me
though,
in there.
behind
I
that?
just walked into the gym. I saw a man carrying a glove, and I said I was good at everything. Anything I do, I always think I'm gonna be great. So I
Mm,
started hitting the bags when I walked in.
okay. And you knew at that moment that you were going to be able to be as successful as you were today?
I just knew I would be successful at anything.
Mm.
Yeah.
When you were at the boxing place, now this another story I read was that you were cleaning toilets, you did the gym, you were doing anything you could in exchange for cash or food, you're accepting donations. At that point in time, obviously, it shows how hard a worker you were. Take us through what that time in your life was like.
Accept less now so I can command more in the future.
Mm,
I I knew that this situation will not last.
okay. June 2020, your life changed forever. Immigration lawyer broke the news that you won your right to live and work in the UK. You've been
Yeah,
working all this time trying to get to this point.
yeah.
When that moment hits and you hear that news, what goes through your mind?
I was on the bus. I knelt down and I kissed the ground of London. I said,
Mm.
I have arrived. And that's when my life began.
As you move forward at that point in time, obviously we talked about you obviously into boxing, but there's one other aspect I want to jump into real quickly. That is your music aspect. I know you pursue music as well in this mix right there.
Yeah.
Take us through that. What created that inspiration for yourself, and why did you get into music at that point in life?
When I was a kid, I also wanted to be a rapper. I used to emulate Ja Rule, and I have a lot to say. I'm good with words. I know how
Right.
to express myself and express things that most people cannot think about, but I use words to show them that they can do it. So I said, what other way? Because in boxing, I can't speak. I could
Right.
just box. So what way can I use to inspire people? So I decided, oh, music. And then I didn't know I could sing.
Mm.
Yeah.
All right, so you get into your amateur career, and obviously it's kind of the mixture of things because you obviously weren't able to go compete at the Olympic scale, even though you possibly could have had a shot at legitimately doing that. But you turn pro then, 2022, you're 34 years old. A lot of people would say that's too old. You say, no, I'm going to go out there and do that. Why at that point in time, in the year of 2022, did you say, you know what? I'm ready to go pro. This is what I want to do.
I had no other choice.
Mm,
I've wasted my time. This is my only opportunity. And I take care of myself. So age is not a number. And when people say you couldn't do it, I made sure I proved them all wrong.
mm. You know, we've just gone through pretty much a lot of your story, at least. If I were to ask you this next question, which is, at what moment was the most difficult moment for your life? What would you say that? What would you say that time would be?
There was no ever difficult moment.
Mm,
There was only an educational moment,
okay.
so teaching moment. So most difficult was when I couldn't work. That's it.
Mm, all right. So you just talked about this aspect. Obviously, we'll go back to the beginning portion where you said, okay, you are 37 years old now. You're the English champion. How much longer do you have in boxing? Obviously, the day will come when you do put the gloves down at some point. But
Till
how much longer
45.
are you in here? What was that?
Till 45.
Okay, so you still have about 8 more years left in the sport then.
I do indeed.
All right. If you were to say
Right.
your top 5 goals that you want to accomplish before you step away from boxing, what are they?
World champion.
Mm,
Boxing Las Vegas. Turkey Al Sheikh, the Saudi.
right.
I was on Talk Sports yesterday, and I was in the show. And before I left the show, Turkey Al Sheikh responded to us saying they want to watch my fight. So
Mm,
that's a big deal. And what I want to accomplish is having a number one song.
okay.
Yeah. Well, this is it. You tell everyone it's lovely talking to you and for you listening to me. And check out my recent fight on YouTube, and also
Absolutely.
check out my music on Spotify under Bilal Fawaz.
Absolutely, man. Well, I got one final question that's cool with you before I let you go. It's the question I wrap up every interview with, and that is the day that you do obviously more unboxing, and we've talked about this story of yours. What do you want the legacy of Bilal Fawaz to be for what you've accomplished both inside and outside of that ring?
He's a very, very motivating character.
I love it. Well, Bilal, it's been an honor having you on the show, man. I cannot wait to see what God's got in store for you. Keep on
Thank
doing
you
the great
very
thing, man.
much.
Of course. You're always
Appreciate
welcome
it.
on. God bless, man.
Take care, my man. Bye,
See you.
everyone.
Talk soon,
Bye.
man. I appreciate you guys all for tuning into that interview. I will have that clipped up, edited out, and then posted on my YouTube channel very shortly. I'm going to go on a short break, and then we'll get into the remainder of today's show. I'll see you guys shortly. God bless you guys. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the SchuZ Show. Hope you guys are having a phenomenal start to you guys' week. As always, I just want to kick it off with this real quickly. If you guys have any topics that you guys want me to address on today's show, comments, maybe you disagree with me, whatever the case may be, go leave those thoughts in the chat. I'll make sure to address them as we go throughout the show. I'm always down to talk with you guys in that regard, so your comments will pop up on the screen. Once I see them pop up, we'll go and address them. We'll get right to it. So that's what I've always got in store for every show. But until I see some comments pop up in the chat, here's what we're going to get into a little bit of a preview for the remainder of today's show. We're going to get into a boxing recap of the fight card that went down this past weekend, including the Danny Garcia one, as well as some other fights to let you guys know what went down this weekend. Then I'm going to get into some boxing news, and there was quite a bit of stuff that came out over the duration of this weekend, so all of that will be addressed as we hop into the show. But as I said a little bit ago, if you guys have any topics you guys want me to specifically address or thoughts, whatever it might be, leave it in the chat. Your comment will come up on the screen, so we can go break the comments down at that point in time. Let's kick it off with this, though. Super welterweight fight went down this past weekend. Danny Garcia's final fight at the Barclays Center. He defeated Danny Gonzalez via 4th round KO. Okay, I want to say a few thoughts here. First of all, I'm going to start with the part that Danny Garcia mentioned after the fight. I don't know about you, but in my eyes at least, it almost seemed as though Danny Garcia was hinting at not retiring yet. If that's the case, that would be a little bit interesting in my eyes and a little bit disappointing. Because if you look at Danny Garcia, if you're not well aware, he does have a great promotional company he's currently doing. This entire fight card was self-promoted by himself, so on and so forth. But if you're Danny Garcia, this was a final kind of last hurrah, if you will, for a fight for himself. And I'll be honest, he did look good. He did his thing against Danny Gonzalez. He went out there and put on an absolute clinic on him. He KO'd him in the 4th round. It was a perfect fight for Danny Garcia. But Gonzalez is not a man whom we look at and say this is a legitimate fighter. Danny Garcia is never going to be the man that's fighting for world championships and that top-level guy anytime again at this point in his life. And it is what it is. Guys get older, you age out, and it is what it is. And I felt like this was the perfect situation for Danny Garcia to say, you know what? This part of my career is over with. I'm still going to have a big role in boxing, but I'm not going to go back into the ring. This was a dream scenario for him. And so when I heard those comments on the end of the fight, I was a little bit flabbergasted by it. I looked at it a little skeptical, just wondering, okay, well, what are you going to do? Because you're not going to become world champion again. So what is he going to do? I don't know. But that was my only thoughts. Was a little bit interested by that. I felt like this was the last hurrah, final farewell tour at the Barclays Center. It was the last perfect ending. A little bit confused as to why I made those comments after the fight. But let's break it down for Danny Garcia, because I'm going to still approach this as if this is Danny Garcia's final fight. That's the way it was advertised all along. I feel like that's the best, most wise choice for Danny Garcia. So I will approach this as though saying that Danny Garcia is going to retire from boxing. Let me give you guys my thoughts now. When I look at Danny Garcia, this was the perfect dream scenario to end your career. You made the Barclays Center great. First fighter to ever fight at the Barclays Center, and then you fought there many, many times throughout the remainder of your career. To go out on top with a beautiful 4th round KO of Gonzalez, and you get that win in the 4th round, going out on top the way that you want. I just felt like this was the absolute dream scenario for a way for Danny Garcia to go out. And not many guys in any sport get to go out on their own terms. Danny Garcia did just that. And when we talk about Danny Garcia, this is a man who I feel like represented the sport of boxing in a very high manner. This man did things the right way. He was a very high energy man. He was a man that people all loved and embraced. He was a fun fighter, gave us incredible moments. This was a man that had a great career, where he's already left a great legacy in boxing. I think the only question we have left for Danny Garcia is whether or not he makes the Hall of Fame, and that's obviously up for debate. Obviously, I know it's a very polarizing topic right now. People are discussing, does he make the Hall of Fame, does he not? But listen, that's the type of career that this man had. A career where it is debatably a Hall of Fame level career. And I feel like when we look at it, this is one of the good guys in boxing. He's done great things for the sport. And when we look at this, if this is truly the final fight that we're going to see of Danny Garcia, this was the perfect way for him to go out. I think we all need to give him his flowers. He had one heck of a run, one heck of a career. And I just want to say hats off to Danny Garcia on a remarkable career. And thank you for the memories. I want to go down and discuss some of the other topics that went down on this fight card, though. You have other notable results from this fights this past weekend. Former WBA featherweight champion Mauricio Lora stops veteran contender Miguel Roman in round 1. Albert Gonzalez, he returned with an impressive knockout win, improving to 15-0 with 8 KOs. his corner man the man who was fighting Leonardo Baez, his corner stopped the fight, did not let him come out for round 6. Andreas Cortez, he remained undefeated this weekend. Elvis Rodriguez, he knocked out Alejandro Frias Rodriguez, who was 19-12-2 with 10 KOs at the end of round 2. A right hand to the body dropped Rodriguez down to the canvas, and Rodriguez now improves to 18-2-1 with 14 KOs. Bantamweight division, this goes back to the Danny Garcia undercard. Dominique Crowder, he defeated Fernando Diaz via unanimous decision. Then in the heavyweight division, Damian Nipa, he defeated Joey Dewaki via 7th round TKO. We head over to super middleweight division. Gabriel Rosado, he made his return this weekend, and he defeated Vaughn Alexander via unanimous decision, 79-73, 80-72, and 79-73. Super lightweight division, Chris Colbert defeated Blas Ezequiel Caro via unanimous decision. Those scorecards read this: 78-73, 77-74, and 80-71. This was an interesting one. I will touch base on it very quickly. We have not seen Chris Colbert in the ring for a little bit of time. Obviously, we know who he once was. Seeing him get back in the ring, now, he's got a long way to go, but back in the ring, having a good performance was good to see for him. I'm excited to see how he builds himself back up. I thought it was an excellent performance by him. Good start. Very high in the way performed. So that was what went down this past weekend in boxing. It's time to head over now into some boxing news that we're going to break down now, because lots of news came out. A few things might be bigger than this one, but one of the things that came out was that Derek Chisora, Jermell Miller in December is now possible. Derek Chisora, Jermell Miller heavyweight fight is being targeted for a Queensberry card on December 13th in Manchester. All right. Let me give you guys my thoughts on this real quickly. Do I like the idea of Derek Chisora, Jermell Miller fighting each other in Manchester on December 13th in what would be Derek Chisora's, hopefully actually his final UK fight, but also his final fight of his career in his 50th fight? Sure. Now, Zhilei Zhang is the fight I would prefer over this one, and that's for many reasons. I think Zhilei Zhang is a much better fighter. I think he also make the fight much more competitive. I think it'd be more entertaining, so on and so forth. Also, I'm very skeptical about this. How much longer can you trust Jermell Big Baby Miller? How many fights does this man have to drop out of, whether that be because of injury, discipline, legal issues, whatever it is? How many times? And so I wonder if you are going to base an entire card on December 13th, which I'm well aware is the day that Mosley Toma should be fighting. Derek Chisora would be co-main event, but Toma has no one currently rumored for who he's going to fight. A lot of issues surrounding that situation right now. But if you are Derek Chisora, I don't know if you can base your 50th fight, your grand finale of an illustrious career, and trust in a man like Jermell Miller. I just question that. I wouldn't put my trust in Jermell Miller. Do I enjoy watching Jermell Miller fight when he fights? Sure. Is he still a good heavyweight? Absolutely. But do I trust Jermell Miller to stay true to his word and actually show up and be in that ring on December 13th? Absolutely not. Sure, he goes in the ring sometimes. We've seen him fight many times. But if you're Derek Chisora and this is truly your grand finale fight, are you really going to put it in the hands of a man like Jermell Miller? You can trust Zhilei Zhang, but you cannot trust Jermell Big Baby Miller. Jermell Charlo, he calls for a fight with Terence Bud Crawford. I give him the best fight of today's era. That's Jermell Miller. That's what he's telling Terence Bud Crawford. You know, Terence Bud Crawford, the man that has become world champion in all the different weight classes man has become world champion at. The man that just had one of the greatest wins in boxing history, defeating Canelo Alvarez, becoming undisputed champion at 168. Yeah. Terence Bud Crawford, the man who many deem as the pound-for-pound number one fighter in the world. Let me get this straight. Jermell Charlo thinks he would give Terence Bud Crawford the best fight of today's era. Listen, I'm all for confidence. I'm all for that. Not going to shoot a man's confidence down. You do you. You believe what you want to believe. But let me make this very clear. Jermell Charlo and Terence Bud Crawford would not go over really well. Sure, the build-up process would be funny. Sure, it might be entertaining. But Terence Bud Crawford would put a whooping on Jermell Charlo so badly. Listen, Jermell Charlo's been outside the ring for a very long time. He returned earlier this year, and he fought a fine fight. But let's be honest. Jermell Charlo versus Terence Bud Crawford is not a fight that I think Terence Bud Crawford would even consider right now. He's the undisputed champion of the world at 168, likely eyeing moving down to 160 and trying to become undisputed there as well. Why would he ever entertain Jermell Charlo? He just had a massive payday against Canelo Alvarez. Sure, would Charlo produce maybe a solid payday? Maybe, but nothing near Canelo Alvarez. Terence Bud Crawford would do a lot of damage to Jermell Charlo. And like I said, I get it. Calling for a fight for Jermell Charlo against Terence Crawford, it makes sense. I'm not going to blame the man for doing it, but let's get the facts straight. You don't want to go from your inactive past couple of years to stepping in front of the ring with a man like Terence Crawford, whom is a very bad man. That would not go well for Charlo. And I do enjoy Charlo. I like watching him. He's a good fighter. But not like Terence Crawford. This would not be the best fight of today's era. Plain and simple. It just would not be that. So do I think this fight would get made? No. Am I upset for Charlo calling him out? No. You do you. But I hope it doesn't get made, and it would not go well for Charlo whatsoever in that ring that night. Lewis Edmondson versus Ezra Taylor is now off the Joseph Parker versus Fabio Wardley undercard. Due to Edmondson sustaining a hip injury in the final stages of his training camp, the ring announced. Okay, well, guess what? I think I've already been pretty vocal about this, but I've already made it clear. The Joseph Parker Fabio Wardley undercard is one of the most pitiful undercards that we have ever seen for a pay-per-view fight card. It might just now be the worst pay-per-view card I've ever seen in my life. And I'm excited for Joseph Parker versus Fabio Wardley. This is a good heavyweight showdown. However, it's not pay-per-view worthy. Unless there was a phenomenal undercard, is the only way it could make this debatably pay-per-view. But the undercard is pathetic. And then you talk about the main event, and that's not pay-per-view worthy. So now you're in a position where, guess what? Ezra Taylor will still fight. It's been announced he's going to fight Steve Woodall on the undercard for Joseph Parker, Fabio Wardley this Saturday. Massive props to this man for stepping up on short notice. Don't have much film. I've not watched him fight before, but massive props on stepping up and taking on this fight on short notice. That being said, this is a bad pay-per-view card. It is a bad undercard regardless of whether or not it's pay-per-view. But you add in that fact that you're going to be paying money to watch this undercard, pathetic. Absolutely embarrassing. Just makes this card even worse. But it is what it is. I think a lot of people are going to be utilizing those streaming websites, if you know what I mean. Matchroom has agreed to a deal to host a boxing event in Accra, Ghana on December 20th. Eddie Hearn has told The Ring this was already rumored. People already expected this. Now it's starting to come to fruition. Who could possibly be on this card? My guess is Dan Aziz, Craig Rich, something along those lines. I know the rumors are there, and I even hinted at it. Maybe Anthony Joshua does make his return on that card. I don't think it's going to be that. I think it's too quick of a turnaround unless it's been backstage planning on this one. It wouldn't shock me, but I do think we're going to see the Dan Aziz and Richards card go down there. But yes, Matchroom will have a card in Ghana, December 20th. Eddie Hearn has told The Ring. Announced, Kell Brook will return to the ring to face Eisa Al Dah in Dubai on February 13, 2026. Here is the interesting news here. And massive props to Kell Brook for doing this. This fight, at first when I just saw the headline, why is he going to do this fight? It didn't click for myself. Then when I found the context out, and honestly, massive props to Kell Brook for doing this. Let me give you guys the details of why this fight's still going down and why it's being made. Al Dah was originally scheduled to fight the late Ricky Hatton in December before his tragic passing in September. The show will now feature tributes to Hatton and support the Ricky Hatton Foundation. Beautiful. Listen, massive props to Kell Brook for being willing to do this. I think this is a beautiful tribute to him. I think Ricky Hatton would have appreciated this. Being postponed to February, it is what it is, but I think it's absolutely great these guys are doing this. Hats off to both of them, and looking forward to that fight card going down on February 13th. Fabio Wardley, Joseph Parker winner will be the front runner to face Alexander Usyk next. The winner of Saturday's Joseph Parker Fabio Wardley fight will be the front runner to face Alexander Usyk when the undisputed champion returns to the ring in the first half of 2026, according to Usyk's advisor, Sergey Lapin. I thought this was already pretty much an obvious situation. I guess there never was a report about it, but I've kind of figured you have two interim champions fighting each other. Obviously, someone's going to have multiple interim champion belts. Makes plenty of sense that the winner of this fight gets Alexander Usyk. So, not shocking at all. I honestly thought this was already going to happen. Did not know this was news, but it is. So, for those that are not familiar with this, yes, the winner of Joseph Parker Fabio Wardley does have massive stakes in this fight. Not only is it a phenomenal heavyweight fight to go down and watch, it's going to be a great atmosphere in the O2, but on top of that, let's just add in this factor right now. The winner gets a massive payday, a shot at becoming undisputed champion of the world, and a fight with Alexander Usyk. It doesn't get much better than that if you are heavyweight right now. So all those things are on the line this weekend on Saturday at the O2 Arena. Last thing I want to wrap up with on today's show, unless I get any more comments in the chat, is this. Oscar De La Hoya wants to make Jaron Boots Ennis versus Virgil Ortiz next. Oscar De La Hoya says this exact quote that I'm going to give you guys my thoughts. He says this: I want to see the Jaron Ennis versus Virgil Ortiz fight. Virgil has to win against Erickson Lubin on November 8th for these talks to fight Boots to continue. Am I hesitating making this fight? No, because I know Virgil. He wants to fight the best. He wants to be the best. I think this is the right moment to make the fight. Will it happen? I'm counting on Virgil to win his next fight. To win in his next fight. Makes plenty of sense. Nobody's upset with that. We all know that. Virgil must beat Erickson Lubin to let the Boots Ennis fight happen. And if that comes to fruition, we will finally get Jaron Boots Ennis, Virgil Ortiz Jr. going down in 2026. Amazing. I think all boxing fans out there want the fight. Now, I've always said this. I would be open if they were to each go get a world championship first, which I think both of them easily would do, and then go unify belts in a fight. I think that would make the fight even bigger. Also give it some more time to age. But if they go right into this fight as interim or whatever champion top contenders, we just want to see the best of the best fight. These two guys are the two best fighters at 154. Two of the best fighters, I should say, at 154. You can make a case they are the two best guys at 154. This is a fight boxing fans want to see. It's a fight that boxing needs. And even more specifically, I think American boxing needs Virgil Ortiz, Jaron Boots Ennis. This is the type of blockbuster fight to really step up and decide who is one of those next faces of boxing, specifically in North America. Massive fight to go down. Hopefully it does occur, but as Oscar De La Hoya said, there's no point in continuing to talk about this fight until Virgil Ortiz takes care of business against Erickson Lubin on November 8th, which, to be honest, I think he will do. I don't think it's going to be easily taken care of, but I think he's going to comfortably win that fight, and we'll move on and hopefully get that fight on the way. So that's what I've got in store for today. I hope you guys have a great rest of you guys Monday. I will be back live. No guests will be on tomorrow's show, but I will be hopping back on live to talk boxing with you guys tomorrow. So I hope you guys have a blessed rest of you guys' day. May God bless you guys all. I will see you guys back live tomorrow. And with that being said, SchuZ is out. God bless you guys.